Now, in the AWS, we'll try to start with one of the core essential service. As I told you, AWS is providing many services to us, and these services are grouped as compute, storage, networking, databases, etc. So from this compute section, today we're going to start one important service which is known as EC2. EC2 means it is an elastic compute cloud. That is the reason we are calling it as EC2. So EC2 means it is a virtual computer which is running inside the AWS data center. It means, let's say this is me. I need to run this application inside a server. As I told you, if you see any server, it contains software configuration and hardware configuration. Think like your laptop. Just like your laptop, it contains a software and hardware configuration. What in by software configuration? It comes with operating system and some pre-installed softwares. And what in by hardware configuration? It is the CPU, the RAM, hard disk, and networking components. So in order to set up a server, we need to have this software and hardware configuration, right? Now, instead of purchasing a laptop, which is very costly process, right? I need a rental computer where I can run my application. Okay. So in this case, I'm going to the AWS where I've created the AWS account. I have already shown you in the previous session how to create the AWS account. Or the internet. This is me. Now I'm in front of the laptop. I don't want to use my laptop, but I want to get a rental computer or the cloud computing service provider. Sitting in front of my laptop and trying to log in into my AWS account, which I already created. After going into the AWS account, first I'll select the region from where I want to access the resources. As you know, region is a geographical area. Under the region, we have more than one availability zone. Availability zone is a cluster of data centers, right, where these IT resources are maintained. And using the virtualization concept, the AWS is sharing the resources to you. Now, over the internet, I can access these resources, right? Now, I went to one of the region in the AWS account. From this region, my requirement is I need one server to run this application. In this case, I'm going to a service called EC2, stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. Using this EC2 service, I can get my software configuration and hardware and software configuration in order to create this server. And this server, which is virtual, it is a virtual server or virtual machine because it is running inside the data center on top of the host machine, on top of the physical machine. So as per my requirement, the physical machine or the host machine sharing its resources to me. And this is the virtual machine which I am created from one of the data center of this respective region. Now this machine that I'm going to use to run my application. Now to create such virtual servers, we are using a service called EC2, which is known as Elastic Compute Cloud. So it is a virtual computer which is running inside the AWS data center, right? Now this virtual server or virtual computer, it is also known as instances. It means using the EC2, we are creating the instances. Now, if you observe here, now we'll discuss the key technical terms in order to create this virtual machine. As I told you, if you see your laptop or physical computer, the components of the physical computer, it contains the hardware configuration and it contains the software configuration. Software configuration means operating system with some pre-installed applications. Hardware configuration means it comes with a CPU, a RAM, hard disk, and networking components. Now, how are we going to connect this system? We're going to log into the system using our username and password because a user account is created, right? A user account is created and we're going to log in using these credentials. And to protect this system, there is something called firewall, which is acting like a watchman or gatekeeper. Now, if you connect the same to this AWS cloud, instead of purchasing this computer, I'm getting this in the form of rental. To create this server in the AWS cloud, first we need to go to a service called EC2, known as Elastic Compute Cloud. Now, in this Elastic Compute Cloud, to get this operating system, we need to select something called AMI, stands for Amazon Machine Image. So, using this AMI, we are going to get our software configuration. So, AMI means it is a template which contains the operating system and some pre-installed softwares. So here also, to get the respective software configuration under AMI, I'm going to select my software configurations. Right now, to get the CPU and RAM under EC2, there is something called instance type. So instance type, it defines the hardware configuration for your virtual server. So if I want to get the hardware configuration, I'll go to instance type to select the hardware configuration. If I want the software configuration, I'll go to AMI to select my software configuration. I hope it is clear. Now let me show you how to set up a virtual server in this AWS cloud. First, you need to log in into your AWS account using the AWS console. So go to your AWS console and try to log in using your root user credentials along with the MFA. Once you successfully log in into this AWS account, first try to decide the region from where you want to access this IT resources. So out of these available regions, you may select any one of the region in order to get these IT resources from the respective data centers of this AWS. So here I am selecting this United States Northeast Virginia. It is also known as US East 1 as a code. I selected this region to get the respective IT resources from this AWS data center of this region. Now I need to create a virtual server in this cloud. As I already told you, to create a virtual server, I need to select a service under compute section. So here, go to this menu option. Under all services, under this compute category, there is a service called EC2, stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. So select this service. And if you open this service, a new dashboard will be open for this respective service, right? So in this dashboard, we're going to create our virtual server. So EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud, which falls under this compute category. So using this service, we're going to create or manage or monitor our virtual servers in this cloud. Fine. Now this service falls under service category called IaaS. In the previous sessions, I have already told you we have the three types of services provided by the cloud computing service providers. One is infrastructure as service, platform as service, software as service. And this service falls under infrastructure as service. It means we are the responsible and we have the more control over the infrastructure that we're going to select to create our virtual servers. So we are the responsible for the resource which we are going to select. Fine. Now, in order to create a virtual server, in the right side, you can see launch instances to launch your virtual server. So select this launch instances. If you select these launch instances, you can see this respective dashboard. So here, launch an instances. So using this Amazon EC2, it is allowing you to create a virtual machine, or it is also known as instances. So these instances, which is going to run on the AWS cloud using the virtualization technology. So what are the resources that I'm going to select? Now, from this AWS cloud in this region from one of the data center, it is going to allocate these resources to me using this virtualization technology. And that server, that machine is running inside this data center. Right now, we going to follow these simple steps in order to get one virtual machine which is running in this AWS cloud from this respective region. First thing, here you need to provide a name or tag. Why it is required? As you know, everyone having our own name in order to recognize. Right? In the same way, in the real time, in the organizations, we are running many virtual machines. Or to identify these servers, we need to provide a name. So here I'm providing a name here saying that LeoAxis. Right? Understand this name and tag in AWS EC2. So here, while creating this EC2, we need to attach the name or tag. So it means a tag is like a label that we going to attach to an respective AWS resources. And this tag is in the form of key value pair. It means, example, I have created one EC2 instances, a virtual server in the cloud. I am calling it as with the key as a name and with a value, I am calling it as LeoAxis. So this is the key and this is the value representing this key. To make it more clear, let's say, think of a school bag. Suppose to our school bag, we will attach a label, right? We attach a label to the school bag saying that name equals to Ramesh, class EI, right? And section, let's say B. So name is one label, class is another label, section is another label. So all of them are tags. And how it is? It is in the form of key value pair. So this is the key and this is the values. So they are the keys and they are the values. So AWS also works in the same way. So whenever you are creating a EC2 instances, in the real time, we may have more than one EC2 instances which are running. If you're not giving these tags, if you're not labeling these EC2 instances, right? By default, it comes with the IDs. AWS provide one instance ID to each instances, which are a random numbers like this in this format. So it is very difficult to understand what is this EC2 purpose is. So to make it clear, that is the reason we are using these tags or labels, which are in this form of key value pair. So in the real time, when we use these tags, we may provide like this, like name equals to dev server. It is a name which we providing to this respect to EC2 instances. If you want, you can also attach more tags, like what is the environment, to which environment the server belongs to. This server belongs to development team. And what is the project which we are running inside this server? It is LeoAxis. So likewise, you can provide almost 50 tags to a single EC2 instances. That is how we may do in the real time. So in one line, we can say this. These tags are labels used to identify and organize this AWS resources. I hope it is clear to everyone. Now, in the real time, we use this tags for cost tracking. We use these tags in the companies for cost tracking using these tags. What do you mean by this? 'These tags helping the companies to know where exactly the money is going. Example, let's say there is a company running three important projects. For these three important projects, they have set up a EC2 instances. And here they're running a training website. And here they're running a e-commerce website. And here they're running a another HR related website. And for each EC2, they provided the tags like it is a project, training, and it is a project, e-commerce, and it is a project, HR. So with respect to these tags, they come to know what is the purpose of this EC2. If you want, you can also attach more tags. Altogether, 50 tags that you can attach to single EC2 instances. Now, the finance team opens the billing dashboard. They go to the AWS billing dashboard and they check the cost of the AWS. Right, every month they'll go to this AWS billing dashboard where you can find the complete billing of your AWS account. Now, this finance team will check the cost of your AWS billing with respect to this tags which you have provided. So they can understand that this project training EC2 instances with this tag project training, it is costing almost like $120 per month. And the EC2 instances with the project e-commerce, it is costing $180 per month. So likewise, now they'll come to know which project is expensive and how to reduce the cost or where to reduce this expenses. So this tags helps these companies to track which project is spending high. So with that, they can take some respective actions. That is one thing. And one more thing, using these tags, it is also useful for automation purpose. Using these tags, it means these tags help the AWS automation automatically perform the actions without any human work. In the real-time scenario, let's say there is a company, it is having the development server. It means a server which is running for the development team. And the server is available to the development team. So where they are developing the application and building the application and testing the application in the respective EC2 server. Now, if you see this, during night times, there is no requirement of the servers to run. So every day, the servers are running from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. After 7 p.m., the servers has to shut down. The servers has to stop running after 7 p.m. And every day at 9 a.m., again the servers has to start running. So to make this automation in the AWS, we may use the shell scripting or we may use some automation tools. So where these automation tools, so using these AWS automation tools, we can clearly say that an EC2 instances with these respective tags. So what are the tags that you are giving to the EC2 instances? Like auto start equals to yes. Let's say this is the tag that I have provided. So this is the key I have given and this is the value that I have provided. So in my automation tools, I'll provide that. Go to the EC2 instances with the respective tag called auto start equals to key. Auto start equals to yes. If any EC2 instances with this tag, then kindly stop the server, stop the EC2 instances at 7 p.m. every day and start the EC2 instances at 9 a.m. every day. So automatically, these AWS automation tools will check the EC2 with respect to these tags and it will do this function without any manual work. So with this, we're going to save huge cost because the servers are not running. It means we are not using the servers. So AWS won't charge for the servers which are not running. We need to pay the servers only when it is running. So with this, it is helping us to make the automation possible. So in one line, this tags is allowing the companies to automatically control the resources. So that is the benefit of this respective tags. Now let's see in the practical. So if you observe here, while launching these EC2 instances, we are starting with the names and tags. So here, this is the key and you can provide the value. Now I'm calling it as dev server. If you want, you can also add additional tags like I'm calling it as project. I'm running the project called HR portal. Okay, it means I'm creating these EC2 instances. I'm calling it as with I'm calling with the name called dev server and also representing this virtual machine with one more tag. Likewise, you can create up to 50 tags to a single EC2 instances. So that is a use of this respective tags. Now we'll move to one more topic, which is AMI while creating this EC2 instances. Let's see this AMI in detail.